Her eyes mist. She closes the book gently. Int. Jason's house. Night. Jason sits alone on the couch, flipping through the TV channels mindlessly. Anne emerges from the bedroom, dressed elegantly. Anne, I'm going out with Mom. Don't wait up. Jason, where are you going? Anne, dinner. We've had this planned for weeks. Jason, I thought tonight was for us. Anne, Jason, every night can't be about your mother. She rolls her eyes and leaves. Jason stares at the door, his jaw tightening. After a long pause, he picks up his phone. Jason softly call Mom. Int. Martha's room, same time. The phone rings on her nightstand. She reaches slowly, smiling when she sees his name. Martha. Jason, what a nice surprise. Jason, hey, Mom, you okay? Martha, I'm doing fine. Evelyn keeps me company. And the nurse says I'm strong for my age. Chuckles, that means old but stubborn. Jason laughs softly. It's been too long since he's heard her humor. Jason, you sound good. I was thinking maybe I'll come visit next weekend. Her eyes light up. Martha, that would make me very happy. Jason, yeah, me too. There's silence, warm, unspoken. Martha. Jason, I'm proud of you. Always remember that. Jason quietly, I don't think I deserve that. Martha, you do. You always have. They stay on the line longer than usual, neither wanting to hang up. Int. Martha's room, 2 days later. The nurse finds Martha unconscious on the floor. Panic follows, alarms, hurried footsteps, voices calling for help. Cut to black. Int. Hospital room. NIGHT machines beep softly. Martha lies in bed, her breathing shallow. Jason bursts in, disheveled and pale, eyes red from crying. Jason, Mom. He grabs her hand, trembling. Doctor, she had a mild heart episode. We've stabilized her, but she need close monitoring. Jason nods, tears rolling down his cheeks. Jason whispers, I should have been here. I should have never. Martha weakly. That's what matters. She squeezes his hand faintly. Martha smiling weakly, remember, when you fell off your bike and said you'd never ride again, you got back up the next day. Jason through tears because you held the seat for me. Martha, and I still am, sweetheart. Just in different ways. Jason leans down, pressing his forehead against her hand. Int. Hospital chapel. Later. Jason sits alone in the dimly lit chapel. The sound of distant prayers fills the air. Jason Vo, I thought I was giving her peace by letting her go, but all I gave her was loneliness. He kneels, his hands clasped tightly. For the first time in years, he prays not for success, not for forgiveness, but for another chance. Int. Martha's hospital room. Next morning. Martha wakes slowly. Jason is asleep in the chair beside her bed, his hand still holding hers. She studies his face, the lines of worry, the exhaustion, and smiles faintly. Martha whispering, my boy. He stirs awake, blinking. Jason, hey, you scared me. Martha softly. Good. Maybe you'll visit more often now. He laughs through his tears. Jason, you're impossible. Martha, that's why you love me. They share a quiet moment, filled with both grief and warmth. Int. Nursing home. A week later. Jason wheels Martha back into her room. Fresh flowers bloom on the windowsill. Martha, you brought my lilies. Jason, you said they were your favorite. Martha, they still are. He helps her into bed, adjusting her blanket carefully. For once, he's not rushing. He places the old photo, her and his father, back on her nightstand. Jason, I miss him too. You know. Martha, then keep him alive in how you love. That's all he ever wanted. Jason nods, his eyes glistening. Int. Jason's car, driving home. Jason glances in the rearview mirror, and for a moment, he swears he sees his mother's reflection smiling back. He smiles to Jason Vo. Sometimes, love doesn't leave. It just waits for you to remember where you left it. Nt. Nursing home. Early morning. Sunlight slips through pale curtains, illuminating the quiet room. Martha wakes with a soft sigh, her breathing shallow but steady. The faint hum of life beyond her door, nurses chatting, dishes clinking reminds her she's not home. But she's alive, she whispers to herself, half smiling. Martha, another day. Let's make it a kind one. She glances at the photo of her late husband and young Jason on her bedside table. Her trembling fingers touch their smiling faces. Martha Vo. Maybe one day he'll remember this smile, and what it cost. Into nursing. Cafeteria. Martha joins Evelyn. a spirited woman in her 70s, who's telling jokes to anyone who'll listen. Evelyn, and then I told him, if you think I'm going to the bingo night dressed like that, you can play alone. Everyone laughs. Martha manages a small chuckle. Martha, you're the sunshine here. Evelyn, honey, when life puts you in a cloudy place, you've got two options. Wait for the storm to pass, or dance in the rain. Martha nods, slowly, letting the words sink in. Martha, I think I forgot how to dance. Evelyn, smiling. Then I'll remind you. They clink their teacups together like champagne glasses. Int. Jason's office, same. Diawa. Jason sits behind his desk, staring at the clock. The tick-tock fills the silence louder than any noise. He can't focus. The words in front of him blur, his guilt louder than his success. Jason VO, every promotion, every award, and I still feel empty. His phone buzzes, an email from the nursing home. Mrs. Walker's health requires additional monitoring. His throat tightens. He grabs his coat, ignoring his secretary's surprised look. Secretary, Mr. Walker. The meeting. Jason firmly reschedule it. He's already halfway to the elevator. Int. Nursing home. Martha's room. AFTRNOI. Martha lies in bed, pale but peaceful. Her eyes flutter open as Jason rushes in. Martha, smiling faintly. You came. He sits beside her, clutching her hand. Jason, I should have come sooner. Martha, you're here now. That's all I need. Silence. Only the sound of her weak breathing. Jason whispering, I'm sorry, Mom, for everything. Her frail fingers brush his cheek. Martha, love doesn't keep score. Jason, it just hopes that. Jason breaks down, lowering his head beside her hand. Int. Hospital. INT hospital. NIGHT. Jason sits beside her hospital bed after she's transferred for observation. He watches her sleep, holding her fingers like a child again. Jason VOI. Used to think strength meant moving on, but sometimes, strength means staying when it hurts. Int. Hospital MRO 9G. Martha wakes to find Jason asleep, his head resting beside her arm. She studies his face, older now, but still her boy. Martha, softly, you finally came home. He stirs awake, smiling weakly. Jason, I'm right here. Martha, good. I've missed my favorite breakfast partner. He chuckles through tears. Jason, hospital food isn't exactly gourmet. Mom. Martha, neither was your childhood cooking, but you survived. They both laugh. A sound neither has heard in far too long. Int. Chapel. Later, that Diawa. Jason kneels alone in the small chapel, the flickering candles painting his face with light and shadow. Jason VO. Maybe forgiveness isn't about deserving it. Maybe it's about giving yourself permission to start over. He wipes his tears and looks up at the cross. Jason, softly, please, let me make it right. Int. Martha's room. Days. LAR. Jason decorates the small room with family photos, birthdays, Christmas mornings, beach trips. He hangs a garland of paper cranes that Evelyn helped him make. Martha walks in surprised. Martha. Jason, what is all this? Jason, a reminder of where you belong, with love, with family. She runs her fingers along a photo of her late husband. Martha, whispering, you've grown into the man he wanted you to be. Jason shakes his head, emotional. Jason, no, Mom, I'm still trying. She touches his cheek gently. Martha, then, keep trying. That's enough. Montage. Time heals. Soft piano music swells. Jason visiting every weekend. Martha smiling brighter each time. Evelyn teaching Jason to play cards. You're awful, dear, but adorable. Jason reading her the letters she wrote but never sent. A small cake for her birthday, just the two of them, laughing through tears. Int. Nursing home garden. SUNSET. Martha sits in her wheelchair beside Jason. The golden light glows around them. Martha, you know what's funny? I used to pray you'd visit. Now I pray you'll rest. Jason smiling. I'm not tired. Martha, not yet. But one day, when I'm gone, remember to live, not just exist. He nods, his eyes shimmering. Jason, I will. Mom, I promise. Martha, that's all I needed to hear. She takes his hand. They sit in silence, mother and son. Peace at last. Fade out. Martha VO. Love isn't about where you live, it's about who still carries you in their heart. Int. Nursing home. Early MOR. Nyanga. Soft light pours through the window. Martha sits by the window, knitting a small blue scarf. The rhythm of the needles clicks softly. Patient.com. Jason steps into the room carrying a paper bag. He watches her for a moment before speaking. Jason, you still remember how to do that. Martha smiling, it's like riding a bicycle. Once you learn, you never forget. He sits beside her and pulls out a container. Jason, homemade soup. Your recipe. I followed it exactly. Martha playfully, oh, then I'd better pray for my stomach. They both laugh easy. Genuine. Int. Nursing home hallway LATR. Jason walks beside the administrator. Jason, I'd like to bring my mother home. She's strong enough now, right? Administrator, her vitals are stable. As long as there's supervision and care. Yes. Jason smiles. The first smile of true relief we've seen. Int. Martha's room. That Evian ninja. Jason helps Martha pack her belongings. Each item holds a memory, a shawl from her wedding, a seashell Jason found as a child. Martha, you sure about this? Jason, I don't want to be a burden. He turns to her, eyes soft. Jason, you raised me, fed me, held me through every storm. You're not a burden. You're home. She touches his cheek. Martha, then, let's go home. Ext nursing home, SUNC. Staff waves as Jason wheels Martha out. Evelyn hugs her tightly. Evelyn, don't forget us, sugar. Martha, teary, I could never forget you. You reminded me how to live again. They laugh through tears. Jason loads her things into the car, helping her gently into the passenger seat. The sun dips below the horizon as they drive off, hand in hand. Int. Jason's house, NIGHT. The front door opens. Martha looks around. Her old photographs are back on the walls, her favorite blanket draped over the couch, lilies on the table. Her lips tremble. Martha, you remembered everything. Jason, every little thing that made this house yours. She takes a deep breath, the air feeling familiar and full. Martha, VO home isn't walls or furniture. It's the feeling of being seen again. Int. Kitchen. The next G. Martha hums as she cooks breakfast. Jason enters, surprised to find her up early. Jason, you should be resting. Martha, rest later. Pancakes now. He laughs. She flips a pancake, perfectly golden. Jason, I missed this smell. Martha, you missed burning them. You mean? They share a playful look, the warmth between them restored. Ext backyard. AFTR and Owen. Jason helps Martha settle into a wooden chair by the garden. Fresh flowers bloom. Bees hum. The world feels new again. Jason, remember when Dad built this bench? Martha, he said we'd sit here growing old together. Jason, you're still doing your part. She smiles softly. Martha, now you just need to find someone who loves you enough to share the other half. Jason looks away, embarrassed but touched. Jason, maybe someday. Int. Living room. Evian ing. Martha sits with Jason on the couch. A gentle rain taps the window. They watch old home videos. Jason, as a boy, his father lifting him up on his shoulders. Young Jason, on-screen mom. Look, I'm taller than Dad. They laugh, tears streaming freely. Martha, your father would be proud of you. Jason wipes his eyes. Jason, I hope so. Martha, he would, not because of what you've done, but because you finally learned what matters. Jason leans against her shoulder like he used to as a child. For the first time, she wraps an arm around him and holds on tightly. Montage, Days of Peace. Gentle instrumental score plays, Jason and Martha planting new flowers together, Jason reading aloud to her in the garden, Martha baking again, her laughter filling the house. A family dinner. Jason, Anne, and even Anne's mother tentative but healing. Jason and Anne reconciling, a quiet apology, a soft smile. Int. Living room. NIGHT. Martha sits by the window, writing in her notebook letters I never sent. Her handwriting is slower now but steady. She writes, Dear Jason, you gave me back more than a home. You gave me back my son. Whatever tomorrow brings, know that I'm proud of the man you became. She closes the notebook gently, placing it on the table beside her photo album. Int. Jason's room. LATR. Jason lies awake, listening to the rain outside. He rises quietly, checks on his mother. She's asleep in her chair, peaceful, her hands folded over her lap. He tucks a blanket around her shoulders and whispers, Jason, good night. MOM, I love you. Ext. Garden. MORNING. The rain has stopped. Sunlight glistens on the wet leaves. Jason opens the door, holding 2 mugs of tea. He freezes. Martha is still sitting there, her face serene, a faint smile, frozen in time. The realization hits him softly, like the morning breeze. He kneels beside her, tears falling but his voice calm. Jason whispering, You're home, Mom. You're home now. Int. Living room. LATR. Jason sits surrounded by memories, the letters, the photos, the half-finished knitting. He opens her notebook and reads the last page. Her words echo through his mind as her voice fades in softly. Martha VO, don't grieve the end, my son. It isn't goodbye, it's gratitude. You gave me peace. Now, go live yours. Jason closes the book and looks toward the window, sunlight streaming in, bright and warm. He smiles through tears. Jason softly, I will. Mom, I promise. Ext Beach. 1 year, LATR. Jason stands at the shoreline, scattering Martha's ashes into the sea. The wind lifts them gently, carrying them toward the horizon. Jason VO, she taught me that love isn't something you earn, it's something you return when the time is right. He watches the waves until the sun dips below the water. Int. Jason's house and IGHT. On the mantel sits a framed photo of Martha smiling, her eyes full of life. Beside it, her knitting, the blue scarf now finished, wrapped neatly around the frame. Jason sits quietly, sipping tea, looking peaceful for the first time in years. Jason VO, home isn't where she lived, it's where she left her love. Sometimes the hardest goodbyes are also the most beautiful, because they teach us what love truly means. When my son told me he'd send me to a nursing home one way or another, and gladly, something inside me broke. I had given him my life, my strength, my love, and yet, I suddenly felt like a burden. But life has a strange way of teaching us what truly matters. Days turned into weeks, and the silence between us grew heavier than the walls around me. Still, I prayed for him every single night, not for an apology, but for understanding. And one day, he came, my son standing in the doorway, his eyes red, his voice trembling, whispering, Mom, I'm sorry. In that moment, I saw not the man who abandoned me, but the boy I once held when he was scared of the dark. I forgave him, not because he deserved it, but because I needed peace more than pain. He brought me home again. My pictures were back on the walls, my favorite blanket on the couch. For the first time in years, my house felt warm. We laughed, we cooked, we watched old videos, and I realized something beautiful. Sometimes, love isn't lost, it's just waiting to be found again. When I took my final breath, I wasn't afraid. I was home. And my son, he finally understood. Because love doesn't end with goodbye. It continues, quietly, gently, in every heart it ever touched. NT small family home. Emeranianja soft sunlight filters through lace curtains. The house is old, but spotless. Photographs line the shelves. Birthdays, graduations, weddings. Every frame tells a chapter of love and time. Martha 62 stands by the window, watering her plants. She's graceful, gentle, with a quiet strength in her movements. Her hands tremble slightly, the signs of age she tries to ignore. A soft hum escapes her lips, an old lullaby. It was the song she used to sing to Jason 34 when he was a child. A kettle whistles. She moves to the kitchen, pours herself tea, and stares at the empty chair across the table. Martha VO softly every morning, I make 2 cups of tea. Habit, I suppose. One for me, and one for the boy who stopped coming home. Int. Office DIY. Jason sits in a modern office, tapping at his phone instead of the computer. He's confident, good-looking, but his eyes carry the weight of something unspoken. His phone buzzes, Mom calling. He watches it ring, hesitates, then presses ignore. Int. Martha's home, FTRNON. Martha folds laundry. Jason's old shirts still neatly kept. Martha VO. He used to say I was his best friend. When his father passed, it was just us two against the world. I thought love like that never fades. But it does. Quietly, like sunlight slipping from a room. A knock at the door interrupts her thoughts. She opens it to see Anne, Jason's wife, early 30s, beautiful, composed, but cold. And Jason said you called him again. He's busy, Martha. You can't keep depending on him like this. Martha, depending? I just wanted to check if he's eating properly. He forgets sometimes. Anne, he's not a boy anymore. You have to let go. Anne's smile is sharp. She leaves before Martha can reply. Martha closes the door slowly, her hand resting on the knob as tears threaten to fall. Int. Martha's bedroom, NEJHT. Martha sits at her desk, writing in a small notebook, her memory journal. Martha writing softly. Jason didn't pick up again today. Anne says, I call too much. Maybe she's right. Maybe love can sound like a burden when it's old. She closes the book, switches off the light, and whispers into the darkness. Martha, good night. My boy. Int. Restaurant DAY. Jason and Anne Sit across from a financial advisor. Advisor, if you sell your mother's property, you'll have more than enough for the down payment on the new house. Jason looks uneasy. And she doesn't even need that house. It's too big for her. The nursing home near us is comfortable. She'd have care, friends, everything she needs. Jason fidgets, guilt flickering across his face. Jason, it's her home. I grew up there and exactly, it's time to move on. The words settle like ice in his chest. Int. Martha's home, EVNING. Jason arrives unexpectedly. Martha's eyes light up as she opens the door. Martha. Jason, you didn't tell me you were coming. She throws her arms around him. He hugs her stiffly. They sit in the living room, the same sofa where they once watched movies every Friday night. Martha. Tea, I just made some. Jason. Mom, there's something I need to talk to you about. He clears his throat, avoiding her gaze. Martha. What's wrong? Son, Jason, Anne and I, we think it's time you move somewhere safer. A nursing home. Nice, clean, close to us. Martha. Quietly. A nursing home. Jason, you shouldn't live alone. It's too much for you. Martha. I've lived here 40 years. Jason, this house is your father's hands. Your laughter on the walls. It's not too much. It's home. He stands, frustrated. Jason. Mom, it's not up for debate. You're moving one way or another. Coldly and gladly. A long, unbearable silence. The clock ticks loudly. Martha's eyes glisten, but she doesn't break. Martha, if that's what you want, Jason, then so be it. He leaves without another word. The door slams, echoing through the house like thunder. Martha stands still, holding the edge of the table as her world tilts. Her hands tremble again, not from age, but heartbreak. Int. Kitchen. Later that unigh. Martha sits by the table, staring at the cup Jason used to drink from, his initials faint on the side. She whispers, Martha, one way or another. Huh, you have no idea what that means, my son. The camera lingers on her face, grief turning slowly into quiet determination. The light feels different now, cold, distant. The air carries an emptiness that seems to seep through the cracks of the walls. Martha sits at the kitchen table, a moving brochure in her hand. The words, Golden Seasons, Retirement Residence, gleam in polished letters. She runs her fingers across the paper, the photo of smiling old couples, mocking her. Martha Vio. They always print smiles on these places, but no photograph ever smells like home. She folds the brochure, places it neatly beside her tea, and stares out the window at her garden, roses bending gently in the morning breeze. A petal falls. Int. Jason and Anne's home. DOI. Jason sits at his desk, staring at bills and property listings. Anne walks in, holding coffee. Anne, we need to make a decision soon. The realtor called again. Jason, I know, I just haven't told her it's happening next week. Anne frowns. Anne. Jason, you're doing the right thing. She adjusts. This is better for everyone. Jason looks up at her, the guilt heavy in his eyes. Jason, better for who? Anne freezes. Anne, for her health. For us, you said. She's struggling to manage. Jason exhales slowly. Jason, she's struggling because she's lonely, not because she's incapable. Anne sets down the cup, frustrated. Anne, you can't let guilt rule your life. Sometimes you have to make hard choices. I did when I chose you, and it wasn't easy either. Jason looks at her, the remark cutting deeper than she realizes. Int. Martha's house. After Anawan. Martha packs boxes, slowly, carefully. Each item holds memory. A ceramic cat Jason gave her when he was 8. A photo of her husband fixing the fence. A note Jason wrote in school, to the best mom in the world. She runs her thumb over the crayon words. Tears fall. Martha Vio. He used to say I made the best pancakes, that my hugs were his shield against nightmares. Now, I'm the nightmare he wants to escape. Ext garden. EVNING. Martha stands among her flowers, touching each plant like a goodbye. The golden hour light paints her face in soft amber. Neighbor Mrs. Cole. 70s waves from across the fence. Mrs. Cole packing up already. Martha. Martha smiles faintly. Seems so. Mrs. Cole. I'll miss our tea talks. It won't be the same without your roses climbing over my fence. Martha chuckles softly. Martha, maybe they'll find a new home too. The women share a look, one of understanding, the silent language of mothers who have lost and endured. Int. Martha's bedroom. NIGHT. The room is half empty. The ticking clock echoes. Martha sits on the edge of her bed, holding a locket, her husband's photo inside. Martha softly, to the photo, Henry. You'd know what to say, wouldn't you? You'd tell me not to cry, that Jason's still our boy. Pause. I just wish I knew where I went wrong. A tear drops onto the locket. She closes it gently and lies back, staring at the ceiling. Martha VO. Tomorrow, I'll see him again. Maybe there's still a part of him that remembers the sound of my lullaby. Int Jason's CARDAY. Jason drives toward his mother's house. The radio hums softly, but his thoughts are louder. Flashback. Int kitchen. Years ago, a little boy, young Jason, 8, sits at the table, crying over a scraped knee. Martha younger, laughing. Oh, sweetheart, it's just a scratch. She blows on it gently, bandaging it with care. Young Jason, don't ever leave me, Mom. Martha, never, my love. Back to present. Jason grips the steering wheel tighter. The memory feels like a knife. Int Martha's house. Jason arrives. Martha greets him with her usual gentle smile. Martha, you look tired. Jason, sit. I'll make you something to eat. Jason, Mom, don't. I'm fine. Martha, let me at least make tea. We can pretend things are normal for 10 minutes. Jason sighs, relenting. She moves around the kitchen gracefully, the rhythm of years returning. Martha, do you remember when we used to dance here? You'd stand on my feet, and we'd spin to that silly record. Jason, smiling faintly. I remember breaking your vase while trying to twirl. Martha laughs softly. It was worth it. A long silence follows. Then Jason blurts out. Jason, the papers are ready. The nursing home has a room for you next week. The kettle begins to scream on the stove, its whistle shrill and piercing. Martha turns it off calmly, her back still to him. Martha, next week. That's soon. Jason, they said the room might not be available later. It's best we move quickly. Martha nods slowly. Martha, quick decisions. They're easy when it's someone else's life, aren't they? Jason winces. Martha, turning to face him. Tell me something. Jason, when did I become a burden? Jason's mouth opens, but no words come out. Martha, was it when your father died? When I stopped giving advice you liked? When I got old enough to remind you of what you'll become someday? Jason looks away, ashamed. Jason, Mom, please, I'm just trying to do what's best for you. Martha, no, my son, you're trying to do what's easiest for you. Her tone isn't angry, it's heartbreak made of glass, soft, but it cuts. Int Jason's car. Later. Jason drives back, her words echoing in his mind. His reflection in the rearview mirror looks older, smaller, and unsure. Jason VO. When did love start feeling like guilt? Int Martha's house. NIGHT Martha packs again, but slower this time. She stops midway, opens her journal, and begins writing. Martha VO. Sometimes love means letting them learn by losing you. I won't fight him anymore, but I'll leave a piece of home he can't sell. My words. She tucks a sealed envelope into a small box, labeled for Jason. Int Martha's living room. Late. NIGHT She walks around the house, her fingers grazing furniture, walls, frames, whispering her goodbyes. She stands by Jason's childhood bedroom door. It's still blue, with stickers of planets and rockets. She steps inside. The room smells faintly of crayons and dust. She sits on the bed, looks at the tiny handprints she had painted near the window years ago. Martha softly. You used to tell me you'd build me a spaceship and take me to the stars. Maybe growing up means forgetting promises like that. She lays down, looking at the ceiling, where the faint outline of glow-in-the-dark stars still lingers. Int Jason's bedroom. Night. Same time. Jason tosses and turns in bed. Anne sleeps beside him. Undisturbed, he stares at the ceiling, then grabs his phone and scrolls through his photo gallery. He stops at a picture. His mother holding him at graduation, beaming with pride. He whispers, Jason, what am I doing? Int Martha's house. The house stands quiet, almost sacred in its silence. The living room is half empty. Boxers line the floor. The walls, once alive with memories, are stripped bare. Martha, dressed neatly in a light blue sweater, finishes tying a small ribbon around her last box, labeled books. Her hands tremble slightly, but her face is calm, almost serene. Martha VO. It's strange, isn't it, how a house can hold more of your heart than the people inside it. She looks around the room one last time. Her eyes linger on a family photo. Jason at 12, missing a tooth, his arms wrapped around her. She touches the glass gently, leaving a faint fingerprint over her son's smile. The front yard. Morning. A moving truck idles in the driveway. The movers, 2 young men, load the boxes carefully. Jason stands beside his car, looking pale and distracted. Anne scrolls on her phone. Anne, we should be there before noon. The manager said check-in is at 11. Jason nods absently. Anne, noticing his silence, what's wrong? You've been quiet all morning. Jason, nothing. Just tired. Anne, then, let's get this over with. Int. Martha's living room moments. Eliata. Jason steps inside to get his mother. He finds her standing by the window, the same spot she stood in so many mornings before. Martha, you remember how your father used to whistle while trimming the hedges? He said music made even work feel like prayer. Jason swallows hard, trying to keep his composure. Jason, Mom, it's time to go. She nods, picking up her handbag, old, worn, stitched along the edges. She pauses, glancing once more at her plants by the window. Martha, softly, take care of them for me, will you? Jason hesitates, then says quietly, Jason, I will. He doesn't look her in the eyes. Ixt Street, LATR. The car drives away, through the back window. Martha watches her house shrink in the distance. Martha VO some goodbyes, don't make a sound. They just take the air with them. Int. Nursing home front. DESKDAY. The Golden Seasons residence is spotless, bright, efficient, but it lacks warmth, the kind of place that smells like sanitizer and artificial flowers. The manager, Miss Holland, 50s, greets them with a rehearsed smile. Miss Holland, welcome, Mrs. Parker. We're thrilled to have you. Let's get you settled. Martha smiles politely. Jason forces a nod, pretending this is all normal. They walk down a long corridor lined with framed photographs of old residents smiling. Behind every door, faint sounds, TVs, wheelchairs, someone humming. Int. Martha's room, DAYT, small but tidy, a single bed, a window overlooking a small courtyard, and a vase waiting for flowers. Martha sits on the edge of the bed, folding her hands. Jason lingers near the door, fidgeting. Martha, you've done a lot for me today. Jason, Beat, you should get back to Anne. Jason, Mom, I'll come by next week, I promise. Martha smiles faintly. Martha, of course, you always promise. Jason's expression falters. He bends down, kisses her forehead awkwardly, then leaves. As the door closes, her smile fades, her hands clasp tighter on her lap. Int. CAR. Parking lot moments. LATR. Jason sits in the car, staring straight ahead. Anne scrolls her phone beside him. Anne, it's done. Now, we can focus on our new house. Jason doesn't answer. His reflection in the rearview mirror looks hollow. Anne, sighing. Jason, she'll be fine. You worry too much. Jason, yeah. Maybe. He starts the engine, but the sound of his mother's faint voice calling, take care of them for me, echoes in his head. He grips the wheel tightly. Int. Martha's room, NIJHT. Martha unpacks her small suitcase. She places framed photos on the bedside table. Her wedding, Jason as a baby, Jason at graduation. She opens the last box, a small one labeled for Jason. She looks at it for a long moment, then sets it aside. Martha VO, he'll find it when he's ready. Maybe not today, maybe not for years, but one day, when the noise quiets, he'll read my heart in those pages. She lies down. The hum of distant voices fades as her eyes close. Int. Jason and Anne's new house, NEHHT. The house is modern, sleek, perfect on paper, but cold in soul. Boxes still unopened. Anne scrolls through her phone, smiling at furniture ideas. Jason sits alone in the kitchen, staring at a framed real estate photo, their dream home. He flips it face down. His eyes wander to the small box of his mother's belongings, accidentally mixed in with theirs. Curious. He opens it. Inside, a hand-sewn napkin embroidered for my Jason, his childhood drawing, me and Mom, forever, and a single letter, sealed with wax. He hesitates, then opens it. Martha VO, reading the letter. My dearest Jason, if you're reading this, I want you to know that I am not angry. Life teaches us lessons differently, sometimes through distance, sometimes through silence. You think you sent me away, but maybe I needed to go, so you could come home. Not to a house, but to yourself. You once told me never to leave you. I haven't. Every prayer, every breath I take, you are there. Love doesn't fade, my son, it just waits, quietly, for you to remember it. Mom. Jason's eyes well up. The letter trembles in his hands. Anne looks up from her phone. Anne, what's that? Jason wipes his eyes quickly. Jason, nothing. Just, Mom being Mom. But his voice breaks. He folds the letter gently and places it against his chest. Int. Martha's room next. More an ing. Martha sits by the window, feeding breadcrumbs to birds outside. Another resident, Evelyn 80, rolls over in her wheelchair. Evelyn, first day's always the hardest, dear. After that, you stop looking out the window so much. Martha smiles sadly. Then, I hope I never stop looking. Evelyn chuckles softly. Evelyn, you're different. Most of us are just waiting. You're still living. Martha's eyes soften. For the first time in days, a genuine smile crosses her face. Int. Jason's house. Night. Jason can't sleep. He paces the living room, glancing at his phone again and again. Martha's number, glowing softly on the screen. Anne watches, annoyed. Anne. Jason, it's almost midnight. Jason, I just want to check on her. Anne, you already left her there. Calling now won't change that. He ignores her, stepping into the hallway. The phone rings twice. Martha on phone. Gentle Jason. He exhales shakily. Jason, hey mom, I just wanted to hear your voice. Martha, you sound tired. Are you eating properly? Jason laughs through a tear. Jason, you're unbelievable. Martha smiling softly. And you're still my boy. No matter how far you send me, there's silence, the kind that heals. Jason, I'm sorry, Mom. Martha, I know, sweetheart. Now get some sleep. They both smile. A quiet warmth passing through the distance. Int. Martha's room, early. Morning's soft light spills across the white curtains. Martha wakes slowly. The faint chirping of birds filling the silence. On her nightstand sits a cup of cold tea, untouched since last night. Her eyes wander toward the small window, where a group of sparrows flutters. She smiles weakly, whispering, Martha, good morning, my little friends. She stretches her hand toward the sunbeam, her fingers trembling slightly. Martha VO. Some mornings, I wake up thinking I'm still home. Then the quiet reminds me, I'm not. Int. Dining hall. LATR residents gather around tables, some chatting softly, others staring into space. Martha sits alone, stirring her oatmeal. Across from her, Evelyn wheels up with her breakfast tray. Evelyn, room for one more. Martha smiling always. Evelyn, you're too polite. Martha, you'll never survive here if you don't learn to complain about everything. Martha, maybe I just choose not to. Evelyn chuckles, taking a bite of her toast. Evelyn, you remind me of my daughter. Always calm, always kind. Haven't seen her in 3 years. Though Martha's eyes soften. Martha, sometimes they mean to visit, and then life gets in the way. Evelyn nods knowingly. Int. Jason's office. Jason sits at his desk, surrounded by piles of paperwork. His phone buzzes, a reminder. Call Mom Sunday. He sighs, hesitates, then sets it aside. A coworker, Mark, leans over. Mark, you coming to the company dinner tonight? Jason, I might skip. Anne's got plans with her mom. Mark, man, you used to be the life of those things. What happened? Jason gives a weak smile. Jason, guess, I grew up. Mark laughs and walks away. Jason stares at his computer, but his focus drifts. His screensaver flashes a family photo. His mother holding him as a child. His throat tightens. Int. Martha's room, after Toronto, sits with a nurse taking her blood pressure. Nurse, you've been feeling dizzy again. Martha, just a bit tired lately. Nurse, you need to rest more. I'll let Dr. Patel know, okay? Martha nods. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. As the nurse leaves, she glances at her reflection in the mirror, her face pale, lips trembling. She opens her drawer and takes out a small notebook titled Letters I Never Sent. Flipping through, we see pages filled with neat handwriting. Dear Jason, you were my greatest joy, even when I became your greatest burden.